Welcome to this week's research overview. It's going to be on reteaching and why we should not focus on repetition. I'm Dr. Jonathan Brendifer from the Developing Mathematical Thinking Institute, former math teacher and professor, and now I run this institute, and you're going to learn a lot more about math education. So 2 questions. Why do students still not understand the mathematics after we've retaught it and given them even more practice? And if reteaching doesn't work, then what should we be doing? So this research overview is going to answer those 2 questions. Okay, with reteaching, we traditionally give worksheets, and we look at what were we doing last week, the last 4 weeks, and we start providing them with more worksheets, giving them more practice, which seems that it would work, but it doesn't. And from research, the effect size is 0.08, which means it has almost zero effect on their knowledge. It doesn't help them. So some things that are problematic is we focus on the worksheets, we're focusing still on the symbolic, the abstract algorithms, which the kids already don't understand, so there's got to be something before that, and we have to take it from a different approach. So one thing that's really important is going through the enactive, iconic, and symbolic representations. That's from Bruner. We have another research overview if you want to learn more about that. So the most important of those 3 is typically the iconic. A lot of times kids will get the enactive, the physical cubes, and then they move to the algorithm, the symbolic piece. Missing the most important part is the visual. So having a number line or a bar model is really helpful there. So that starts to build the conceptual understanding. Now, we want to get at the kids, their misconceptions that they're having in these KDUs, these key developmental understandings. So that means we actually should be diagnosing in that area. So instead of just giving some skill level diagnostic, we want to get one that also has a diagnostic with conceptual understanding. So you have to look for, in your school system, the differences between those 2 diagnostics. And one of the other problems with reteaching is that you've already lost so much time because the kids have been in the classroom for weeks now, but because they don't understand, there's nothing to connect to their schema, they've checked out. So there's so much time lost. So we have to engage them, and that's where if we can get that conceptual understanding, that visual representation, and next part is building the language. Not us using the language, but having them use structural language. So using the words, 6 words: unit, decompose, compose, partition, iterate, and equal. Having them use those 6 structural words to explain what they're doing is so powerful. And yes, we have another research overview on the structural language. We'll also link that below too. Okay, so let me give you a quick example too. When you're thinking about like fractions, you can take any subject, but fractions, and you want them to be able to operate. You want them to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions. But before you do that, there's the KDUs, those key developmental understandings. And one of them is, can you locate different fractions on a number line? If they can't do that, they're going to struggle with all the operations. Another one is, I like giving a bar model where it's partitioned into 4 equal sections, but then there's a 0, and then the 1 is at that 3rd partition, there's still 1 more, and then asking the kids to name the fractions. That's another really good conceptual understanding of what a fraction is. If they don't have these, then moving on to operations is problematic. Okay, so just to quickly summarize, if you're most reteaching, we're just focusing on doing whatever we were before, giving them more worksheets, it doesn't help. The effect size is 0.08, so almost nothing, very little. And so what we want to do is build the conceptual understanding. We want to use good structural language and iconic models. You include that, you have such a much greater effect on the kids' understanding that will help them. Stay tuned for next week's research overview on pre-teaching, which is going to be even more powerful. And as you're focusing on the language and the models and conceptualizing the mathematics for them, they start to get engaged. And when they get more engaged, it starts to build their self-confidence. And that is so powerful. Because a lot of students, when you're doing the reteaching, they already know they're put into a situation, their self-perceptions are already low, and we want to build them. So if you have other questions or comments, go ahead and leave those below. Please share this with others, like and follow us. And if you want more ideas and resources, please check out our website at dmtinstitute.com.